Okay, so let me just start out with a quick background of some sort. This is the type of video slash stream I've been meaning to do for a minute now. I've just finally got the chance, and a album that I really like has happened to drop yesterday. Also, as a heads up, if there's any background, I apologize. People don't know how to not scream indoors for some reason. Anyways, today's reaction will be to Started Off's self-titled album. I have heard a few of the songs. I did not realize they were a part of the album. So we'll see how this goes. And then if there's anything on the technical side that needs to be changed, just let me know in either the Twitch or the YouTube chat. I should be able to end up seeing them via the Twitch on my mobile. But if that doesn't end up working, I guess just let me know. Just let me switch that over to this scene. If anything on this needs to be changed around or anything, that should be pretty easy to do. Let me just double check that this is working. Okay, that one. And then let's check YouTube. Okay, so that's a little concerning. Because that one should have went. Well, I guess I can still see the YouTube on my end. It's just not showing over restream for some reason. I'll just have to fix that later. Oh yeah, also Discord server invite will be in the top corner. It's not showing the stats right now because I don't have Discord open. But yeah, I suppose let's get into it. Also, I'll try to pause every once in a while so that there's not any like freeloading or whatever Nate calls it. Anyways, let's get started.
Wow, never seen a kid throw stones at their own glass house. Wow, trying to build a life for himself just to burn that down. Now it's all evident, got blood on your hands while you plead in sin. You sow and then now you believe all the webs of deceit you've been weaving and leaving this in. Goddamn, you never thought you'd get found out. You ain't that slick, buddy, work out round. Plugging my nose when you come around town, cause I smell that shit spilling out your mouth. Thinking tragedy and injury till you turn a profit. Weaponizing all my empathy to reach in my pockets. Evil tendencies got me believing he's not an option. Some of my apathy is time to put your ass in the coffin.
Yeah, so immediately from that, I'm getting some Falling into Verse vibes, which I actually kind of dig. I also really dig that intro into the song as well. And the kind of rap style. Not used to it from Set It Off, but it goes really hard.
How do you sleep in that bed you built from debris of bridges you're burning? Hope it was worth losing what you thought you deserved. You lie, 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 lie like it's pathological. Everybody is an idiot. You kidding yourself, bitch? You need some fucking discipline. So listen up and focus. Go ahead, pop a riddle in pop quiz. Can you tell me who the victim is? Me. Sorry, wrong answer. No, you love to say that in front of the camera. Look so good when you twist that narrative. There it is. Never give a fuck about the damages.
Also kind of really like that vibe from going from rap into sort of a breakdown X session into more rapish. It actually really transitioned pretty well. I also kind of like the accented tone in the lyrics. Usually don't hear that, but in this one, for some reason, I am. Also, sorry, it's probably gonna be awkward. This is the first time doing this.
How do you sleep in that bed you built from debris of bridges you're burning? Hope it was worth losing what you thought you deserved. You lie, 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 lie like it's pathological. You're obsessed with affection and suppressing confessions. Your pathetic synthetic connections can't cut out the lying infection like venom you're spreading. You
That goes so hard. Like that, I probably cut that off a bit too early. Let me go backtrack that just a little bit. But that hits so hard. Also, I love that just dip where the instrumental just drops and then it's just pathological. It hits so hard.
and suppressing confessions. Your pathetic synthetic connections can't cut out the lying infection like venom you're spreading. You tragedy and injury till you turn a profit. Weaponizing all my empathy to reach in my pockets. Evil tendencies got me believing he's not an option to my apathy. It's time to put your ass in the coffin. How do you sleep in that bed you built from debris of bridges you're burning? Hope it was worth losing what you thought you deserved. You lie, 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 lie like it's pathological.
I also really like the little voice effect where it's a bit of clean on top of the scream, just way back in the distance of either the left or the right side of the ear in that last, I want to say, chorus section. Because that was a really cool effect. And honestly, kind of wish more songs did that. It's probably less noticeable if you don't have a headset on, but it is there and it's really clear. And I honestly really like that. I also love the mesh of dubstep into the tracks now, instead of it just being like one genre kind of backtrack. It's got a few different varieties within the same track, which goes really hard. Forgot what that was called, but there was a song from really, really early started off that kind of gave a similar vibe in a sense. It was either some like Weird Kids or Strange Kids, something like that. It's from before Wolf in Sheep's Clothing came out, I'm pretty sure. And I guess Color in the Mirror had a similar-ish vibe to the backtrack, just not as hard hitting as that one. Anyways, let's continue on. Once Google get its eyes out of my face. Okay, so as a heads up, I have heard this one, so it might not be as much commentary on this one.
Hurts in my chest and I start to worry, try to push it down, cast it out, but I can't control it. Hanging on by the strings that you're pulling, so you cut me down just to push me around, like you're punching back, just another pot calling the kettle black. Take it out on someone who won't hit you back, till we're all as broken as you. Say goodbye to your Mr. Nice Guy. You got your wishes rotting in hell. I'm up all night when you think I'm freaking people. Poison's never good for your health. So go fuck yourself.
This one after that last one actually hits really different. It's kind of going from heavy into sort of a callback to some of their previous albums, like Elsewhere, Duality, Cinematics, and Midnight and Upside Down too. Less those, maybe more Midnight on that case. But it's a weird mixture of callback to their newer modern songs, like Parasite, and to a mixture of Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, Killer in the Mirror. There's some others I'm forgetting. I haven't heard them in a while. Because admittedly, I've been listening to it a little too much Mansai recently. But it is giving vibes of some of their older stuff, which it's really hard. And I love the amount of breakdowns that I've just been put in the songs in Modern Set It Off. It makes it hit so much harder and so much deeper, especially on a lyrical front, because there's a lot more depth to the tone because of that. Anyways, let me go rewind this just a little bit. Oh, and also one last note for the section. I really like that Go Fuck Yourself. It hits so hard. And honestly, that lyric does remind me of one of their older songs. I wonder if I have an album with the name so that I can just call it from memory. No, it wasn't Late December. I think it might have been Bad Guy. That might have been the one. Or Ancient History. It's one of those. Off of Duality. But one of them basically had the exact opposite message, roughly, if I recall. Which I guess coincided with one of the older ones would show a change of some kind. I'm really bad at explaining. But it's just a good mix with older stuff and the newer stuff. Okay, I think I know the one now. It was Ancient History, which I believe was about, I think it was one of his exes who, after breaking up, they still hung out and I think had sex or something like that. It was mentioned in the commentary edition of Duality, but essentially it was about making the sexual side ancient history and remaining friends. This one seems to give the opposite message of wanting to put someone you lost or I guess were an ex of some kind and just telling them to go fuck off and essentially go to hell. At least that's the vibe I'm getting out of this. Which I guess could also apply to a shit parent too, but that's probably less of the theme here. Anyways, let's get back into it.
Your wish is rotting in hell. Yourself.
I also really like the removal of the sound, well, the backtrack on the last "Go fuck yourself." It makes it really emphasized. And honestly, it kind of makes it stand out too. Also, again, there was some of the background clean vocals atop of the screaming. Sorry, I might have to pause here. People are being loud in the background once more. So give me a sec. Okay, so apparently what's going on in the background is something about my brother turning off a show that one of my other brothers was watching because he's trying to get him to go to bed right now. So fun. Anyways, let's get into this little lore drop, I want to say. Because I heard a cut at the end of this.
Yourself.
Cut. Good. Take 5.
Okay, never mind. That was just... Nope. There is. Oh, wait. Is this leading to win-win? I just realized that's like the intro to Win Win, if I recall. That actually it makes me curious. But overall, that was a really, really good song and a really good mix of new and old sounded off at the same time. I don't think I have that many more comments because I've heard this a few too many times to have that many. But yeah, let's proceed. No, that is not the song I was thinking of. Actually, change. So just gonna drop it right now. I've seen this music video. I was there when it dropped live, and I've also heard it a few times after. So might not be too many surprises. Just as a for record. Let me go restart this since I cut off the build up a little too early.
What a wild bloody mess that you leave when you eat. Better sharpen up that toothpick, picking at your teeth. If you flash fake smiles, tidy up till it's clean up the rot before it digs too deep. Looking like a wolf in sheep's clothing on the crowd. Wonder what they say when they all find out. You force feed them, shook until they all fall down, down, down. When you starve for attention, you serve what they crave. Chocolate and charm keep the questions at bay. But your sugar is sweet till it rots all the teeth. So save the charade and your candy coated plate underneath.
Also, in this one, I really love. I believe his name is Cody's fit. It fits him so well, and also I really like and still like the callback to Wolf in Sheep's Clothing in the lyrics, just casually mentioned, even though it's not as much of a callback. It's still a really, really good callback to, I believe it was off of Duality. Yeah, it was off of Duality. Anyways, let's proceed.
For the poison in the apple that you'd sell them with the pen or in its center is this hell. I know they can't tell, but I can smell the bodies rotting in your basement. Wow, looking like a wolf in sheep's clothing on the crowd. Wonder what they say when they all find out. You force feed them, shook until they all fall down, down, down. When you starve for attention, you serve what they crave. Chocolate and charm keep the questions at bay. But your sugar is sweet till it rots all the teeth.
Okay, probably not the best spot to pause, but I couldn't find one sooner. But I've always loved that build up from the I wanna say featured singer coming in, and then the follow-up of Cody matching it, and then the instrumental building up and then dropping into some screaming, and then into what is effectively this part now, which I believe is the outro part. And I honestly wanna say that this song is probably something related to manipulators, or just probably more so like manipulative assholes, but it could be in other contexts too. But that's the vibe that I'm getting, especially by the quote cotton candy coated blade underneath your mouth or whatever it was. Which just the symbolism of the blade just always gives me the vibe of a backstabber of some kind. And then the chocolate charm just gives me the like manipulative vibes of either trying to appear good while being bad for you, or I guess appearing bad while you find them good, something like that. Basically, like a double-edged blade of some variety. Don't know. Anyways, let me go backtrack that to I want to say pre Cody breakdown. That's about here. Oh yeah, while we're at it, I really like the rap bit after she comes in too. It goes really nicely into the breakdown.
She was a bad egg.
Oh, also another thing I really like is the fact that Cody just decides in video to try and bite the glass for some reason. And also I love the vibe of the blood just coming out of the mouth as if he bit too hard and then things happened. And also the "she was a bad egg" line kind of reinforces the manipulative vibes, and along with the "bite down right now, feel the blood come out of the roof of your mouth," which just gives absolute manipulative vibes. And then judging by the fact that it's mentioned that there's a she involved, it's probably some sort of X, if I were to take a guess. Don't know, I just really like digging into the lyrical side. And also I love the incorporation of dubstep into this one too. It really suits the song. And I just realized there's a nice earring there too. At least I think that's an earring. Maybe someone else. Anyways, let me back this up just a little. Okay, sorry. I'm just distracted by the fact that he ate that glass twice and then just smashed it with his bare fist. That is just badass as fuck. Let me go rewind that just one more time real quick. I'm sorry. Also, I love how the guest singer just comes back in at the end to reinforce the message a bit more. It just makes the message so much more impactful overall. Anyways, let's proceed. I think this one might have been one that I haven't heard yet, but we'll see.
The Geico
After
I'm
Geico.
speechless. I love how I can file a claim on the.
Okay, yeah, I definitely have not heard this one. So, there will probably be a few comments. I immediately love that just build up from quiet to louder with I want to say a crescendo of vocal upward into the ever so subtle switch. Go rewind that like a second.
There's a box of razor blades somewhere in the sweetest things you say. Mix it with.
Okay, that actually kind of coincides with Rotten. I shouldn't have paused that early, but that was just a thing that I found really interesting. Let me go bring that back there. And I also love the techno vibes in this one versus the dubstep in the previous.
There's a box of razor blades somewhere in the sweetest things you say. Mix it with the toxic sugar cane, swimming in your famous lemonade. 'Cause
I also love the use of toxic sugar cane and that just really reinforces the vibe. And I don't know why, but this album is just really giving off Bad X vibes. Or multiple. So that could be part of why the album cover is what it is. Anyways, let me go rewind that back again.
razor blades somewhere in the sweetest things you say. Mix it with the toxic sugar cane, swimming in your famous lemonade. 'Cause when it's on, you're so damn good to me that I can't help but think, when will you turn on me and shut it off? Rip it from under me, go from my ecstasy into my enemy. So make it quick, throw me the rope you wanna hang me with. Bring me the roses that you're ready to drop onto the coffin, building me up to watch when I'm falling. Makes me
God damn it. How long is your chorus? Let me resume that.
sick when you flip that switch.
Okay, there. I really like that vibe. It goes so hard. I almost immediately forgot what was just said. But I think it's something adjacent to what I'd call masochism of some kind. And also, I guess kind of waiting for something bad to happen in a sense, and then it hasn't happened yet, which I guess leads into like anxiety of some kind. But it'll probably be re-mentioned because that sounded like a chorus of some kind. And then I love how it just uses the word switch as a sort of bridge of some kind between sections of the song. I wonder if that will play any key element in the style of the lyrics and stuff.
Which version am I gonna get today? The hero or the villain in your brain? The Jekyll or the Hyde with hell to raise? That cuffs me to the wheel and cuts the brakes. 'Cause when
Okay, that's now giving me vibes of duality, which had a similar message of there's a good and bad side in the head space. But duality gives the vibe of embrace it. I think this is gonna give the opposite, but I'm not sure just yet. Let me get to this chorus, which I think like just started like back a second ago in this. So let's go backtrack like a second.
cuts the brakes. 'Cause when it's on, you're so damn good to me that I can't help but think, when will you turn on me and shut it off? Rip it from under me, go from my ecstasy into my enemy. So make it quick, throw me the rope you wanna hang me with. Bring me the roses that you're ready to drop onto the coffin, building me up to watch when I'm falling. Makes
Did it again. But essentially that's giving me just like the vibe of I am prepared for you to do your worst and I'm waiting for that to happen so that I'd assume something like leaving the situation could occur. Or I guess just feeling off that it hasn't happened just yet. And also I love the vivid usage of hanging yourself in the case. And then I think I heard something about roses too. It's just to make it a little bit more personal to, I'd assume, whoever this is originally meant to go out to.
sick when you flip that switch.
Yeah, I think it's about the other person having good and bad side in this case, judged by the use of flipping the switch, e.g., flipping from good to bad. Probably something related to manipulation again, e.g., showing off the good, and then when you get to a certain level of good, it just goes back the other way again, and so on. Kind of like a mental roller coaster of sorts. Also, I love that mini breakdown of sorts where it just goes from techno to incorporating a little bit of dubstep into it and then just stays techno the whole time. It's a different vibe compared to the previous ones, but it works well with the lyrics and probably is meant to highlight the lyrics in this case. Yeah, I was right. Okay. Also, I love how because when it's on and then just goes into lyrical, you give me everything, and then when it's off, I forgot what the lyric was. Let me go rewind a second, but I love the scream into just casual clean and then back into scream and then into the clean. That works so well, and I wish more songs did that. It was here. That's essentially just like a mental roller coaster of sorts, where when something is going a certain way and the switch is on, you're getting everything good, and then when the switch just hits the off point, you're just getting everything taken away, and then it just goes in a loop over and over and over and over. Definitely, I'm not saying that partially from experience from the last like 5 to 6 weeks, but that's just the vibe of that specific lyric section that I'm getting, and the vibe of the song that I'm getting. I might have this one in a couple playlists after this, because that just hits way too hard.
Make it quick. Throw me the rope you wanna hang me with. Bring me the roses that you're ready to drop onto the coffin. Building me up to watch when I'm falling. Makes me sick when you flip that switch.
Holy shit, I was not prepared for the switch kind of thing. I was so not prepared for that. That hit so hard. But yeah, it's essentially just going through that roller coaster and just being prepared for the end that never comes. Or at least not yet. Just honestly kind of daunting to never be able to see that end. But we'll see how this goes. Gonna continue.
Flip that switch.
Oh, I love that subtle flip that switch at the end after that. That hits so hard. And no, Adobe, I'm not gonna generate music. No. Adobe, shut up.
You don't even realize.
Skip, pause. Oh, that's in here. Okay, that's interesting. Especially after that. Also, man, how the fuck is this reminding me so much of my IRL experience last 6 weeks? The fuck? But yeah, I really like the vibe of that last song. I may have some slight tears coming from that one in particular. I don't know why, but that one just hits way too hard. Anyways, for record, I have already heard this one, so there probably won't be as many comments. Especially since the previous one's still in my mind. But yeah, let me resume this.
You're turning into who you wanna be tonight. You cherry pick opinions you don't even like. Chameleon, you're switching up to save your life. I said, ooh, you put a foot on my palm for a foot in the dark. Found out that you kick me down to the rocks to climb to the top. So now show them what they want. Social camouflage, mirror everyone inside. Such a charming way to lie. Tear us all to shreds till there's no one left, and you're stuck with your fake ass friends.
Holy shit, that hit so much harder after the last song. My god. And that is still giving me vibes of my IRL after that. Damn. And honestly, at this point, I think it's all about one person throughout this album. It's just so fun. But judging by the intro of this song and the last song, that same person who's causing that repetitive cycle of good into bad is doing that for the sake of some sort of influence with friends that probably don't even like them in the first place. Rather than just like caring about him, which honestly sucks. I mean, I could be getting the messages here wrong, but that's just what I'm getting out of this. Anyways, let me get back into this and hopefully not cry more.
So here's a toast to the greatest actor that I know. Put on a show and never let the curtain close. You sold your soul to who you thought you needed most. I said, ooh, you put a foot in my throat for a foot in the door. Found out that you'd kick me down to the rocks to climb to the top. So now show them what they want. Social camouflage, mirror everyone in sight. Such a charming way to lie. Tear us all to shreds till there's no one left, and you're stuck with your fake ass friends.
Also, I love that laughter in the background after that fake ass friends. And yeah, that is definitely giving off that vibe of if they're doing it for the sake of some sort of influence with friends that don't like them and or people that they probably shouldn't really be around or talk to. And the fact that they would be willing to just put you at their absolute low just so that they can feel better about themselves because of their insecurity or whatever. And just the willingness to just put, well, I probably already said that, but essentially just putting oneself at the lowest point that they've probably ever been in and not even giving a fuck. That is so deep, but like, that's what I'm getting. And also, that foot in the door just gives me the vibe of, well, foot on the throat for a foot in the door just gives me the vibe of being willing to crush just so that they can be in the social circle they want to be in. Which is probably where I got some of the last bit from. And then that bit just restates it, but with heavier wording. And then the show them what they want, like, I think it's show them what they want, like social camouflage is essentially just showing a fake version of yourself and whoever you're with, just so that you can blend in with society, I guess, more so.
They want social camouflage, mirror everyone in sight.
And then mirror everyone in sight, such a charming way to lie, is essentially just reinforcing the willingness to lie about their personal situation just to make themselves look good in public image for no reason at all. And then that's just showing the willingness to just make everyone in their lowest point possible until they end up having no one left in their life except their social influence. And again, the willingness to just do that. And then fake ass friends just would refer to the social influence that I keep mentioning. Also, I love the little chorus that's going on with that last section of fake ass friends, because there's a laughing voice, there's the kind of screaming voice, and then there's the clean voice, and then probably another fourth one in the back somewhere. Also love the laughter there. And then I think that last bit is essentially just saying that I am gone now. So goodbye and good luck with your shit social influence and or friends that you probably shouldn't have made in the first place when you could have just had us in the first place. And there goes Adobe again. But man, that hit so hard. Oh, and this is probably about to make that deeper. My god. This like genuinely is reminding me of one of my parental figures so hard. So thankful they're out of the house right now. But man, it goes hard. Anyways, back into it. Also, yeah, veado's still working. I think I fixed the issue from previous streams. I was missing a driver by the looks of it. Either that or it's because I don't have a game open, something like that. Oh, and how'd I guess that would happen at some point today? Like, genuinely, how the fuck did I guess? Goodbye, bot. But I'm just hoping that's not gonna stay there. Of course it is. Fun. I guess just know that the streamview.com link is a scam. It was deleted from the Twitch chat. It's just not picking that up in Restream. Anyways, let's get back in. Also, I just realized, no, that's a 3-minute. I thought that was a 5 minutes for a second there. Also, I think this might be like song 6 or 7 on the album now. And I definitely have not heard this one yet.
You take it all, leave nothing on the phone. Can make it on your own. Don't latch onto me. What's in it for me?
I was not prepared for that. I'm gonna guess that beginning was a demo for a song. And they're probably gonna reincorporate that again later in the track. And then they're just placing dubstep and screams on top of that just to place some more emphasis on it.
You take it all, leave nothing on the phone. Can make it on your own. Don't latch onto me. What's in it for me?
Also, that background's giving me vibes of Rotten. Like, genuinely. That might be a callback to a previous section of the album. Also, I'd probably guess this is what's in it for me if I stay in the relationship or whatever. That's just where I'm gonna guess, judging by that start of especially emotional acoustic at the beginning.
Until your lips are tired, and let's save all the small talk. I know there's something you want. It's my demise. My pain is how you thrive. You're desperate for attention, but I don't read my mentions. So run your mouth all you want. Too bad the beat goes on and can't be stopped. It must sting. They have no effect on me, 'cause all your misguided rage just paves my way to greatness.
Okay, that is still hitting home. My God. But that's just I have given up care, so what the fuck is in it for me in the relationship? And why should I even be here if all that's coming out of it is pain? Anyways, let's keep going.
You take it all, leave nothing on the bone, can't make it all.
Also, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if that You Take It All came from the acoustic directly, and then they just added instrumental and the rest of it on top of that to add more emphasis again. Oh no, I gotta go back a bit further. And then that's just giving me vibes of someone in the relationship somewhere is being essentially the equivalent of a leech of some kind and trying to latch onto them specifically. And then they're trying to get them to stop doing that. And that I'd assume that you're begging for more and you're down on your knees is essentially them trying to reopen up the relationship when they don't want that because it's caused them so much pain that they'd rather not deal with it. And yet the other person is still begging for that relationship to be opened back up. And that what's in it for me just really comes home and reinforces that idea.
To put up half a fight, you're terrified of friction against your lethal fiction. Is obsession the trend? You're at it again when you tell all your friends how evil I am, armed with scarlet letters. Thought that you'd know better, but you run your mouth all you want. Too bad the beat goes on and can't be stopped. It must sting, have no effect on me, 'cause all your misguided rage can fuck me up. You take it all, leave nothing on the bone.
That the beat goes on is what I'd assume is probably something like the story keeps going and evolving or something adjacent to that. I kind of zoned in a little too hard on the lyrics and then forgot the previous lyric, so I don't know the full message. But I'm still getting that vibe of essentially questioning what is in it for you if the relationship is causing you so much sorrow, so much misery, so much pain, and the other person just keeps trying to get you to crawl back into the relationship like a parasitic leech. Probably why Parasite was made, honestly. And I wouldn't be shocked if that's what comes in next. Fuck. I didn't let that left finish. But that you take until I have nothing left is essentially the vibe of you're giving me all this sorrow, all this pain, all this suffering, and you are leaving nothing left. Then I'd assume the next part is gonna be a what's in it for me if I have nothing left here. And then judging by that you can't make it on your own, it's because they are failing in their social circle or whatever, because the other person is out of their life. So now they're trying to crawl back into their life so that they can get back into that social ring or something similar to that. I really like that "What's in it for me" section, especially that first one with a mix of scream and then clean, the next one clean, and then the third one just scream. That goes really hard and hits really, really deep and honestly reinforces the song's theme. It's probably also reinforced by the amount of times that the message is repeated. But that's probably also part of the point. I like that effect of the record getting rewinded a couple times. That goes really, really nicely with the track. I'm not gonna lie. Or I guess it's more so like a scratch while it's playing, kind of thing. I don't know. I just noticed that in the instrumental, and it just hits, and I don't know why. I hate you ads. Oh no, it's not Parasite. Evil people. Which I'd assume is probably gonna end up being the theme of the social influence factor within the relationship, if I was to guess. Especially with the order that this has been progressing. Also, I'm gonna go take a quick drink because it's almost been an hour. In fact, over an hour now. I wasn't expecting this. It's so deep.
Every say could be a sinner. When the finger's on the trigger, I gave an inch, you take a life, it's do or die.
Yeah, that's essentially the same vibe. Like, every saint can be a sinner is probably going to be referring to that manipulative ex or whoever they were with at the time. Fingers on the trigger would be they're the one in control. I forgot what the last lyric was, so let me go rewind a little.
When the finger's on the trigger, I gave an inch, you take a life.
The I gave an inch, you take a life would be I gave you a little and you took a lot from me.
It's do or die.
And then the it's do or die would probably be referring to it's you do this or else you're gone from whatever social circle you were in. Which honestly just reflects the vibe of whatever social circle that the other person was trying to be in was bad for them, and they just have not been able to realize it.
They tried to drown me in the drama.
That's probably, in other words, the social media taking influence on him, even though he wasn't a part of it, except for probably like abuses or whatever. And I guess people who have been seeing him online are trying to involve him in that, and that's probably making him feel even lower.
And now I'm swimming with piranhas.
The piranhas would be essentially toxic voices or people that ended up in his life that he did not ask for, but was a direct result of whoever he was with.
Leave me dry, I won't survive, but that's alright. You just
That you lead me dry, I won't survive, but that's alright. Just probably is again referring to the fact that he's given up. And he's honestly just accepted being torn apart for social influence of whoever he was with, even though it is giving him major, major negatives within his life that he more than likely did not want in the first place. But he was alright with that, just to stay with them or whatever. Though we're just evil people cracking smiles and twisting knives, probably would refer to those kinds of people who take other people and just tear them apart into shreds just for their influence to skyrocket. They start out friendly at first, but then become dangerous. Then I think the next part is something like Devil in Disguise, which is just essentially saying that if they were bad, but if they were in disguise and I saw good, so I played along with it when I should not have in the first place because it tore me apart. And especially with that hiding in plain sight, that definitely reinforces the idea that he saw light when it was really darkness that he should not have interacted with. Honestly, I think that might be an I don't trust a single fucking one of y'all, rather than I am just a single fucking one of y'all. Because I don't trust would fit the message a lot better here. E.g., he sees a lot of evil people, and he does not trust them and probably won't go anywhere near them again. Especially people who act similar to whoever this was in reference to.
Yeah. It's like I can't keep them away from me. Could change my name and my identity.
The I can't keep them away from me, can't change my name or my identity is probably they can't keep the people who keep tearing him apart away from him, even with changing his name and own identity, because they are stalking him to probably like end to the earth level.
But either way, there's no escape. It's all the same.
Either way, there's no escape. It's all the same. Just reinforces the idea that he has no way out of the situation. And he's just trying his best to get out of it.
So shape-shift into something wicked. Show us all that feeling that you hide inside yourself.
The shapeshift into something wicked, show us all something evil hiding within yourself, kind of just reflects the idea that there was something good and then it corrupted into something evil of some caliber, probably in relation to the person tearing them apart. So I really like this breakdown here.
They're not under your bed. Don't just come out at night. There's no horns on their head. Run all you want, but there's nowhere to hide.
They're not under your bed. They just come out at night, run all you want. There's nowhere to hide. Just really reinforces the idea of there are monsters and you cannot hide from them once you've interacted.
They're not under your bed. Don't just come out at night. There's no horns on their heads, so run all you want.
But you're still gonna die. That ha 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 is probably just reflecting the idea that he is going insane or livid over the situation because he cannot get out of it. Because he wound up in it in the first place. And he has no escape route because they keep crawling back and keep coming back and keep tearing him apart to no avail.
cracking smiles and twisting knives. Friendly but lethal, like the devil in disguise. Hiding in plain sight, you're just evil people. You're all just evil people. Cracking smiles and twisting knives. Friendly but lethal, like the devil in disguise. Hiding in plain sight.
Also, I love how this part it turned into 2 to 3 vocal tracks, reinforcing the idea that's been playing throughout. That there are evil people hiding in disguise, stay away from them, or else you are screwed and you will be torn apart. And they will keep coming after you no matter what you do. No matter where you go, they will keep finding their way back.
And I don't trust a single fucking one of y'all.
Morning, Pete. Coffee's on and your Uber's on its way.
You know, I've been thinking, maybe
Honestly, it makes me wonder where this next one's gonna go. Oh, it's back to Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. Oh, that's a deep cut. Wasn't expecting that to be on here. Damn. And I have heard the remaster, for record. I was not prepared for that to be on here. Which means this has been an issue for a long time now. Especially by a certain line that is in this song. This makes me really concerned. Anyways, let me go answer a message from Leshy real quick. So just give me a second. I'll let you reflect or whatever. I honestly kind of need a little bit of an emotional break real quick. Okay. That's a little bit lower on the feeling scale now. I think I'm a bit ready for this now. Let me go hop back into YouTube chat, put the stream back in the corner that I had it at. Then let's get back. I was not prepared for this stream to be so long. Yeah, that line is what I was referencing earlier. Because that means that the song from, like, I think it came out in around 2012 to 2014 is still relevant today. Because nothing changed about whoever it was about in the first place. And again, I would not be shocked if the person in the album is an image of that person. Or something adjacent to that. Or meant to represent them. Yeah, that's essentially the same theme of bad person in a good light, essentially. And also, I love that little piano mixed in with the guitar and drums and stuff. That's a silly little effects. I'm just really caught up on the lyrics end. Pablo, Black Sheep, have you any soul? By the way, what the hell are morals? Would be saying that the black sheep represents evil, and the question of what the hell are morals is gonna end up being that they end up having no restraint to their evil and wicked ways. Which I think is a lyric in another song, too, from that same album. Was Have You Any Soul? That was the lyric between those. Which is a question of, do you have any good within you? I'm pretty sure. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick is essentially saying, be prepared to escape. Jill is referencing the other person in the relationship and is saying that they are a bad person and will manipulate. Tell me how you're sleeping easy. Essentially, how are you doing this without having any nightmares, in this case, or bad thoughts? How you're only thinking of yourself is essentially saying, how are you so self-centered? How do you not think of others? How do you justify your manipulation over me? Mark my words, one day you will pay, is essentially saying that, mark my words, you will pay for all of the wrong that you have done to me. The karma's gonna come collect your debt is reinforcing the idea that you will get what you caused back. And that's the same idea of people stalk so that they can keep an eye on them and keep them in wrong. This is saying that the other person in whatever relationship is doing the same thing to him. You sink your evil into the people that you need to be okay. E.g., you tear people apart to make yourself feel better. And then that's calling out the fact that they are a problem to themselves. Well, less that, but to Cody in this case. I believe if I heard the lyric right. Let me rewind that just a little. Yeah, you infect everyone you depend on. You are a problem. Fee Fi Fo Fum, you better run and hide, is saying that they are ready to strike back or reflect what they have done to him back upon the other person. I smell the blood of a petty little coward is more than likely meant to represent a pretty much you said all these things, but you're not following through. So, what will happen if those things were done to you, I think, is what the rough gist here is. The Jack be Little, Jack be Slick is essentially saying something adjacent to retaliate against the problem. Jill will leave you lonely dying in a filthy ditch is essentially saying she does not care about you. Go deal with the problem and remove it from your life. Also, I feel like there's a feminine voice somewhere in the background there. Now that I realize it. There's like 5 or 6 layers of voices in that one piece. Yeah, there's definitely a feminine voice there. Maybe 2 layers of that in the background. Maybe You'll Change is giving out hope that they change so that they don't do something reckless to them because they have been causing them so much harm. Well, less harm, but more so pain, and they've been tearing them apart to the point where they want to strike back, but hoping to God they change their actions so that they don't have to. Abandon all your wicked ways is essentially saying I hope that you get rid of all your wrongs. Make amends and start anew again is essentially fix your issues and start over again. So that hopefully, again, they don't have to deal with it themselves and essentially ruin their life in the process. They're being the other person. Maybe you'll see abandon all the wrongs you did to me, is essentially saying, maybe you'll see everything you've done to me and realize how badly you fucked up the relationship, and then going along with the previous stuff, hoping they change and hoping they try to fix it. Yeah, the start all over, start all O, and then that bit goes into the next bit, but the start all over is essentially reinforcing the idea that they hope that they restart the relationship. But let me rewind a little for this next bit. The now who am I kidding is essentially saying that they are holding false hopes and they should not have those false hopes because they are not going to change.
Always been a huge piece of shit. If I could tell you, I would, but it's frowned upon in all 50 states. Having said that,
Also, I've always loved that goblin scream there. But that's essentially saying you've always been an asshole to me. If I could eliminate you from my life, I would, but I cannot legally do that, so I have to find some other way of doing essentially the same back. Is what I'm getting out of that bit anyway, in context with the rest of the songs before this. And that's just saying, I wish you would have died 10 years ago. Why are you not dead yet? Why are you not in hell yet? Go to hell. And then again, that's a callback to the moral dilemma of how are you sleeping easy at night? How are you only thinking of yourself when you hurt others and you cause them so much pain? How are you okay with that? How do you justify telling her your lies like second nature is again, how are you so willing to manipulate? And then again, that's saying that you will pay for your issues. One day or another, you will. Your wrongs will come back against you. That really is probably doubting that the bad things will come back at them since they have not done so yet. I just caught that at the end. I think that's the first time I've caught that really there. Which just gives me a vibe that he, with all of that said, doubts anything is going to come back against them at this point, since it's been probably like 10 plus years now since the original song came out and since the original message came out that should have put the karma back on them ages ago. But now they're having to do this in order to get that karma to come back at them. Because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this whole album thus far has been about the same person and how badly they affect his life.
I'm stumped. Friendly insurance lizard, first letter G.
Geppetto?
Come on, you just switched to guy.
Looking left and right, anywhere but inside with a team.
I might have heard this one, I don't think I have though. But it's weird that this one starts immediately rather than having some sort of delayed build-up. I don't think I have, now that I think of it. But yeah, the remaster is really good. I just am only now seeing the connection with the previous ones. I don't know how I didn't realize it beforehand. Because I feel like I probably should have. Anyways, let's proceed.
Looking left and right, anywhere but inside where their demons dance with my dark desires. Yeah, such a shame, it's really pitiful that you will fuck us something beautiful, weaving every word
That you would fuck up something beautiful is probably representative of essentially they are willing to fuck up something that was so great. And then I guess being nervous about that, let me just re-listen to that real quick.
looking left and right, anywhere but inside where their
Looking left and right, anywhere but inside, is essentially they're trying to find somewhere to pin an issue on. And if I was to guess, it probably wound up pinned on him instead of inside themselves.
demons dance with my dark desires. Yeah,
Demons Dance with My Darkest Sides is probably referencing their mind. I'd assume their mind in this case scenario.
such a shame, it's really pitiful that you will fuck us something beautiful.
Such a shame. It's really pitiful that you would fuck up something beautiful. It's probably showing the fact that their darkness, their evil, has caused them to fuck up the good thing in their life.
Weaving every word that I want to hear like a symphony
Weaving every word that I want to hear.
passing through my ears. I'm in a
Like a symphony passing through my ears is probably another correlation with manipulation once more. E.g., they are saying what the other person wants to hear so that they can keep them in good terms while actively hurting them without them realizing until after, I'd assume, but maybe they realized sooner in this case scenario. Also, I love how there was a little symphony effect as soon as Cody said symphony in that. I need more of that in music too.
passing through my ears. I'm in a state of sleep paralysis, but wide awake and feeling powerless. Yeah,
I'm in a state of sleep paralysis, but wide awake and feeling powerless. Is saying that they are in a state of not realizing all the issues and they feel powerless over the situation. because they have not realized yet, and they are not able to get out once they have, because assumedly this was written once they have realized the issues. I'm pretending I can read the writing on the wall is I'm pretending I can see the signs in my life while they cannot at the time, assumedly at the time. You got me in a life script. Every time you pull me right back, you got me in a vicious cycle. Is essentially you have me stuck in this state of mind where I think this is a good thing when it is actively a bad thing, but I am not seeing the signs to realize it is a bad thing. It's never ending, can't get out. I think every time you pull me right back, assumingly a right back followed by that, judging my lyric flow usually. But essentially, they are finding no way to escape, and every time they see signs, they're getting pulled right back into the good image. Yeah. It's essentially just representing the mental roller coaster once again, but instead of going from happy to sad, it's going from seeing a good image to a bad image to a good image once more. Kind of like a switch in that sense. Just instead, this is representative of the actual cycle that is being seen rather than how they feel. Caught in a slasher film and it never ends. I escaped you once, but we'll meet again. Is probably a symbolism of I have managed my way out of this situation before, and I found myself back in the situation again. And the stuck in a slasher film is probably representative of the fact that they cannot escape once more. What was that? I went from optimist to cynical. Says that I went from seeing the good side and trying to have the good side to being cynical about the situation or just negative and not seeing the good side because it is almost impossible to see the good side now. From unpredictable to typical, probably representative of the mental roller coaster of bad to good that they were feeling previously back in Switch. E.g., they are seeing the signs that are making them feel bad, and it's starting to become predictable and typical to where it happens normally, and they need out as soon as possible. Carved our name in sand, and we can see the tide is rolling in. Feels like it's probably some representative of them carving themselves into something, e.g., putting themselves together. And now the tide of sorrow is starting to kick in. Probably more so for him than her, if it's the same person throughout, like it's feeling it is. one way to end this trend, and it is to scream with these stitched up lips. E.g., their only way out is to get themselves out, but they are in a state where they cannot get the hell out of the situation. And honestly, I would not be shocked if that's part of why there was so much gap between this album and Elsewhere. Because I think that was like an 8 to 9 year gap between the two. Which, man, that sucks. Oh, now that hits deeper. Pretending that I cannot read the writing on the walls. E.g., I am pretending this is still good for me, even though I can see all of the signs that are pointing to this is bad for me. Yeah, that just reinforces the idea of they are stuck in this cycle and they are not finding a way to get themselves out of it because they got themselves back into it. Just realized there's this tiny little right back in the background way in the instrumental here, which is probably to emphasize that they are stuck in the situation. As much as they want out, they are getting pulled back in repeatedly. Breakdown? No. Someone take me away, say I didn't cause it all, is probably to say they want out, they need someone to get them out and show them that they did not cause this, and it was indeed the other person. Won't you save me or chain me? Let me go back a little. Would you save me or chain me? Say, I told you so. Is essentially saying to the third person in the situation to save them. Told me I told you so. Tell me that I have indeed been seeing the signs. Tell me that I should not have been here. And get me the fuck out. And make sure I don't go back once more. Dependent defended. I'm getting what I want. Now I'm facing and changing. The writing on the wall. So, dependent defended. Now I'm facing and changing the writing on the wall. I'd assume they are facing what they are seeing and changing it for the better. I'd hope for the better. And I'd hope that they are getting out. But we'll see. There's another, 30 seconds. Breakdown time? No. Okay, so even with seeing this, they're still getting pulled back. Maybe they actually get out later. But overall, I'm just getting the idea that they are stuck in this situation that is actively bad for them. They are seeing the signs. They are seeing it's wrong. They are seeing it constantly. They are seeing all the bad, but they're not in a state where they can get out. They want to be saved, but they cannot find a way out. So they're actively stuck. And whoever the other person is in the situation is actively keeping them stuck in that situation, from what I'm picking out of this. And it seems like it's still about the same person. Because there's been a constant theme of manipulation, a constant theme of social influence, and a constant theme of the other person being bad for them throughout this. Which is why I really, really think this is about the same exact person. So just to check, let me see how many are left in the album. There are about 3 tracks left from what I can tell. Listen, man, we had 2 hours.
Get ready.
Oh, this is when creating monsters come in. Oh, that's a weird one to include. Now that I think about it, that is a really weird one to include. But it does kind of make sense considering the previous context. But we'll see how this goes. Realizing that it's now 10. So I'd expect another, like, 30 minutes, depending on how this goes. Anyways, let's dig in. I've kind of already heard this before a couple of times since it came out. So not all too much new, except for the now found context of the previous.
I see the blood, I hear the scream.
I see the blood, I hear the scream. E.g., I see the bad, I hear the bad.
Oh, this haunting habit never leaves.
Oh, this haunted habit never leaves. That's probably gonna resemble the habit of staying with the bad when I know I should not stay with it. But I'm stuck with the bad because I cannot find a way out.
A fingerprint, a smoking gun. But the body counts climbing like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. A graveyard sleeps beneath my feet, inviting me to finally rest in peace.
Graveyard sleeps. Body count is stacking up. I'd assume the amount of bad has been stacking up, and that's creating monsters in his head. I'm really not sure how this one fits in. Because this is honestly a really, really weird one to include. But it probably connects on a deeper sense. Oh yeah, the monsters were in his mind. So he's seeing all the bad and negative thoughts are forming within his head from the relationship, more than likely. And he is having to run from all those bad thoughts in his head in order to stay, I'd assume. Even though he probably should not stay.
Why could you cut out my brain? Throw it away. I can't get myself out of my way. 'Cause
That's probably referring to depression, if I was to guess. Or just, again, the bad thoughts he's having about the person in context. And he is not able to find a way out from running from the voices in his head. Not to reference Falling Universe here. And that stuck on repeat, creating monsters no one can see, reflects the bad thoughts he's seeing, and it's stuck in a loop, like vicious cycle and like Switch and like so many of the other ones before. He is unable to get out of this loop, and it's probably caused by that relationship. Also, for reference, I'm just gonna hear all the lyrics and see what image it comes to my mind at the end here. Because I think this one stands more as a symbolism of what was going on in his mind during the relationship or whatever. Because it's a really weird one to include. Because the lyrics don't really match the vibe, per se. But right now I'm getting the image of this is his hell that he is in within his own mind, and no one can see that hell. He's probably masking that hell just so that he can stay in the relationship, just so that he can hide his feelings, just so that he can pretend he doesn't feel pain from everything that has happened. Yeah, no, that's definitely giving me a vibe that he is stuck in a loop that is actively giving him harm and demons and bad thoughts, and he is not able to get out of his mind. He's not able to get out of the pain. He is not able to get out of that loop. And he's probably struggling a lot due to all of the signs that he's seeing, all of the pain that he's getting, and mainly just in a state of hell within his own mind. At least that's what I'm getting out of this one in correlation with the others. Because again, it's really odd to include, but it feels like a sense of symbolism.
Let's do it again.
Okay, and then this is where Parasite kicks in, which is again talking about a person in the relationship being essentially a leech to them, not finding a way out, keeping them in a state of bad, etc. Probably better if the song explains that more so. And for reference, I've heard this one a couple too many times to where I kind of know the theme.
Leeching off my pain, never satisfied.
This is that Never Satisfied hits really hard in context. Because it's essentially saying the manipulator is leeching off of him, taking the pain that he is feeling, and is never satisfied to where they stop.
Till I'm fully drained.
Yeah, till they're in a state where they have nothing left. Playing with my name just to stay alive, e.g. playing with their image just so that they can stay alive, probably in their sphere of influence, as mentioned a couple songs ago.
What a poor, pathetic parasite.
And then this is probably where they're acknowledging that they're poor and pathetic. And they are a bad person, more or less, in an explicit sense.
Climb social ladders, slash another honest throat.
Climb social ladders, such an honest throat. Probably not throat, but the gist should be there that they are climbing social ladders, e.g., climbing into the sphere of influence, probably by, again, pushing all of this pain, all of this sorrow, all of this hurt onto him.
Walls of cadavers, savage weights are built on. If you pay
Walls of cadavers, savage ways to build a home is probably again saying that he is getting all of this from the relationship. He is in pain, and this is how they're building the relationship that's happening.
payment, maybe you are not alone.
Another payment maybe you are not alone. E.g., they are again using the pain to get into the sphere.
Take delusional past stuck to the hose. No, you're just a parasite.
And then again, that is reiterating that this is a bad person. They are a leech. They are hurting them. They are using them for influence.
Legion of my pain, never satisfied. Till I'm fully trained, you're a parasite. Playing with my name just to stay alive. What a poor pathetic parasite. Search your fucking nose, know it doesn't belong. Struck a note.
That's probably they are getting into their personal life where they do not belong. And that's probably how they're getting them in more of a state of pain within the social sphere. I feel like this is probably out of the relationship by now. Should be, anyway.
Doesn't belong. Struck a nerve or wreck a home when you get a response. And I curse that fucking nurse for letting you fall at your mom. You're just a pig.
Straight. No, I already lost the end of that. Let's go back.
Doesn't belong. Struck a nerve or
Strike a nerve. No, that's about the nose. Strike a nerve.
wreck a home when you get a response. And I curse.
Wreck a home, never get a response, e.g. strike pain and then don't get a response because they have reached their limit. And then this is them being mad that they came out this way. I had to assume something like that. Again, they're leeching off of them. They're getting the pain. They're getting everything they can just to put them down in a pit, ruining their life. And then now he's questioning, why are they so obsessive over me and my life? Taking what you want from me so you're not obsolete, e.g. taking everything that can put me in a bad light so that you are not out of the sphere and you are not obsolete within the situation. Again, that's calling them out as nothing more than a parasite. And probably they're not going to deal with it anymore and they're going to resolve it. And that's probably around the time that this album started forming. Just realize it's curse a nurse for letting you fall out of your mom as the full lyric. So definitely mad for them being let out into the world and being allowed to be this way and being allowed to be this cruel and being allowed to be this selfless. Probably not selfless, more self-centered, and being allowed to not have morals and being allowed to not care about others. Oh yeah, and also being allowed to be a parasite in the first place, and a leech.
cosmic
Maybe
conqueror.
wait for this to end.
What the hell does that even mean?
Oh, there's more Ironheart. Okay. But yeah, summed up, that's just acknowledgement that they are causing all the pain in their life. And they are absolutely, rightfully pissed off about the situation at hand. And now trying to find a way to get back at them for everything that they have done. And judging by the inclusion of wolf in sheep's clothing since around 10 plus years ago. Anyways, let me take another little break as I need to recover after that. It's been like 2 hours, 20 minutes now. So, still not fully recovered from that, but probably the best it's getting. For record, there are actual tears in my eyes right now, which is fun. Is this either last or second to last? No, this is last. Judging by that intro instrumental, I'm getting a sense of resolution to the conflict, finally. I love how it is giving resolution in the instrumental, and then it's giving the opposite message of, I wanna say, trying to stay within the relationship or, like, seeing signs, and then due to paranoia, they're seeing a bunch of worst case scenarios that could happen if they leave, I'd guess. Let me just go back, just so that I have a fact check real quick.
I can see it. Am I clairvoyant?
I can see it. Am I clairvoyant? It's basically saying they are able to see signs. They are able to see the future. If you recall right, clairvoyant meant essentially being able to see future stuff, something like that.
Or just consumed by my paranoia.
And then that or just consumed by my paranoia is them placing doubts upon their ability to see the future and essentially asking if it's well, later on asking if it's a worst case scenario that they're seeing.
If I see that space, I built those blanks with all
I see that space, I feel those breaks is essentially saying I see a way out. I see the stop.
thoughts that scream in the back of my brain. A homemade
Thoughts that scream in the back of my brain, or thoughts that say I should get out.
hell I built myself where
The hell that I built myself,
I am always asking.
where I am always asking why, essentially just gives off the vibe of they are starting to fall into the voices, or maybe also starting to listen to the voices that are telling him this is bad, there's a way out, take the way out. They're asking themselves why, what more am I able to do to fix this future world, probably with the person who's been giving all of the pain. Running, I just keep running, is essentially them saying, I keep trying to find an escape. I'm not seeing it, but I may be starting to see it. Running out of ways to keep me safe from self-inflicted pain. In other words, they are running out of ways to keep themselves from hurting themselves from all of the pain that's been caused to them and all of the pain they're causing themselves by staying in the relationship. I'd like to go, I can't escape worst case scenarios is essentially I would like to leave, but I cannot escape the worst case scenarios that entrap me in this state where I must stay here.
Eccentric secrets, they lie about me.
Eccentric secrets they lie about me.
And I believe them, they're so convincing.
And I believe them, they're so convincing, probably refers to the manipulation coming from the other in the relationship and seeing them as convincing for them to stay when they are seeing so many signs to leave and so many options to leave, but ending up in the end stuck in a case of worst case scenario. So I tiptoe by my own landlines, or probably landmines, is essentially saying they are trying to weave across all of the worst case scenarios that they are having inside of their mind. And I see the signs, it's all in my mind. Self-defense at my expense. I pretend I know the ending is more than likely saying that they pretend they see the worst case scenario, but they're finding that to actively be wrong. They're trying to leave those worst case scenarios and leave the relationship at long last. At every step, definition of insane. In other words, they keep trying to leave, but their mind is also telling them to stay, is what I'm getting out of that. Can't get a grip while I'm falling in the grave would more than likely say, I cannot find a way out while I'm actively being dragged back down into the sorrow. But they are again starting to see a way out and a way to get out. They just need to find the energy to get out. Oh. I like that scenario. Oh, that hit hard. And again, that's saying they're trying to escape from the worst case scenarios and trying to escape from the relationship that's causing them all the sorrow. They are trying to keep themselves safe from the self-inflicted pain, but something is holding them back. So just a breakdown of some kind. Someone save me now is again a cry for help, trying to get out. Just save me now. Just save me now. Again, we are trying to leave. Please save me. Please get me the fuck out. This man behind the curtain won't let me out. This man behind the curtain won't let me out. E.g., they are stuck here. Please get me out. I am not able to leave because they are keeping me trapped here. Please get me out. Just save me now. Please save me now. When the mental floodgates open, I always find a way to. Damn, that's a deep drown. But again, that's asking to be saved, asking for a way out, because while they're here, they are stuck drowning, because they always find a way to drown. That's another weird drown. I love the effect of drown. That is so weird, but also it fits. Up. The lyrics in the far back left and right are coming back again. And again, that's asking what more can they do to get out of this pain, out of this sorrow, out of this place. Oh, damn. That is not the message I thought you were going to leave off with. Okay. Damn. Alright. But again, they're trying to find a way out. Trying to find a way to get out of these worst case scenarios. But now they are finding themselves unable to get out of those worst case scenarios and just giving up all hope of ever getting out of these worst case scenarios and essentially of getting out of this relationship that is not good for them because they're not finding a way out. Damn, I was not expecting that ending. Holy fuck. Hoping they're okay. Fuck. Man, I don't know how to end this one off. I was partially hoping for one of their usual good endings on their albums, but instead it's more so a bad, sorrowful ending and realization they are trapped. Which honestly, again, reflects on my actual life just a tad. E.g., the want to escape, but realizing there's no way to escape. Or the want for control over one's own life, but realizing they do not have the ability to have control over one's own life. Also, I'm just gonna do that so that there's a visual of the album there. But yeah, I was not prepared for that ending. Damn. I'm probably not doing the Undertale stream tonight. We'll see if that happens tomorrow. But man, I was not prepared for that ending. Holy shit. And that avatar right now is not accurate by the fact that it's showing happy. It's more or less the other way around. It should be showing sad, but I don't really have an avatar for that, so... I mean, fantastic album, really relatable. And also really, really deep. I wonder if I missed things in the first three that also correlated. But that ending really, really makes me want to know if the person is okay. Because they should be able to find a way out of that. Though it's possible they're not seeing it because of how long they've been stuck in it. And they're just losing hope of ever getting out of all this pain, all this sorrow, all this misery they've been put through. Like, this is probably the part where they usually put the suicide hotline, but I don't have that on hand. So I really don't know how to end this. So I guess I'll just leave it at that. I'm not even gonna bother with trying to find a raid, because that doesn't seem appropriate. Plus, I'm realizing I'm probably gonna have to privatize this on Twitch end because the auto privatize isn't on. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, I'll see you in the next stream or whatever when that ends up being. I was not prepared for this album to be so relatable. And also, I do plan on doing more of these in future. Probably not as in depth with the singular songs, but I do plan on doing more of these. That's a familiar name, and I have no clue why. But hi, I was just about to end. Still not 100%. And also not sure which Twitch chat you're in. I have not been on TikTok in a second. So I'm still not 100%. It's been like 2 to 3 years. So I'm not 100% sure how to respond to that. But I guess we can continue that in the Discord above my head, if that's all right with you, because I really need to end this. It's been almost 3 hours. And I'm also kind of like done with reactions, so we're not even here anymore. Okay. Or did like Twitch die? Oh no. Okay. Sorry. I can't tell because my phone's not showing an update for the stream. I think I copied this over, but we'll see. Nope. Okay. I guess let me try running that in my own chat. But then I'll just copy that over. Oh wait, chat? Wait. Oh. I didn't realize it was live on my actual Twitch. So I've not been checking that one. Which means the stream elements command isn't hooked, so. But yeah, I'm gonna call it here. I do have a VOD channel. I believe it's under. Well, in this case, it's under Chaosyr's Vessel, but there's also the Stoat Lord plus the archives over on YouTube, which stores all the VODs from previous stuff. But yeah, I'll mark it here.